Good morning, and this is Code and Hash channel, giving you the details about Java programming. And today we are going to see about the basics of Java programming as well as those followed by the rules. So what is this? Oops, what is this word? This catchy keyword that is oops. It is object-oriented programming. Oops is nothing but object-oriented programming. So what is this object-oriented programming approach? We have seen two, three approaches. That approach is nothing but your what you can say it is your structured programming, what you have seen, and you have procedural programming available. And what is the structured programming? The conventional way of writing a program code, it comes under your structured programming. A better example for your structured programming is your C programming, what you know. And the conventional programming method found certain drawbacks of uh, was found to have some drawbacks in organizing the program and the development. So in such case, these drawbacks of the structured programming, they found that it can be eliminated using your object-oriented programming approach. So what does this object-oriented programming approach does, or how it differs from the structured programming means? In the case of structured programming, C programming, just there will be a template and how you have to write a program. In that structure, you will follow up the program. But you cannot disintegrate the program into different modules and you cannot execute it at a time. So this was a big drawback for you, and how it can be eliminated in OOPS means in object-oriented programming language, it helps to decompose a problem into number of entities called objects. And what does this object, what is the role of your objects in your program means? You will be having your data and you will be writing certain functions similar to of the C programming. Your data is nothing but the input what you are going to provide for your statements, and your functions are nothing but the statements composed nothing but the set of statements which is going to be executed in your program. So what kind is going to happen in your object oriented programming is you have your data, you have your methods, and if you are going to apply these things into your methods, then it will be done with the help of your objects alone. Okay, it will be done with the help of your objects alone. So these objects are going to act upon the data and methods in your program. If you want to access any data of your object, only you can data of the object can be accessed only with the help of your either the object. You can access your data with the help of objects. How to access the data with the help of the methods, okay, associated with the object. Okay, now we need to see what is this object oriented programming. This object oriented programming is a programming paradigm that uses objects and their interactions to design any applications. Any application, if you are going to design, then you have to take this object oriented programming, and that too, that application will be an interactive application. And there are certain concepts to be noted in the case of object oriented programming, that is certain OOPS concepts to be noted. They are object, class, data abstraction and encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, dynamic binding, and message passing. So, first thing, we will be seeing each and every one separately. Without knowing the object-oriented concepts, you cannot handle Java programming, could not write or understand the Java program. So let us have a brief overview on these concepts of object-oriented programming. So object, so what is an object? Normally, what is an object in a real world means? For example, if I have a pen, the pen cap, the pen body, then the refill, everything is considered to be a separate object. Or if I take a chair, then the stool, then the particular the chair's arm, then the chair's body, chair's leg comes under the object. Similarly, here these objects are going to be the basic entity of your programming in Java. Okay, and now you how to handle these objects we'll be seeing when you are going to see the program. Now see, when you take these as the object, these all are considered as an object. Now when you take a pen, this single is also an object and every component in this pen are also called as an object. Now, the next one we are going to see is the class. So Java programming is entirely different from the structured programming, that is C programming. Here everything you have to encapsulate within a class. So what is a class? You will be having some data, you will be having certain functions, and these data and functions clubbed together to form a class. So how we are going to club them into a class? The classes are the data types based on which the objects are created. Okay, objects are created. And how we are going to represent a class means the entire set of data and code of an object can be made of an user defined data type with a class. That is, saying it in simple, we are going to bind up the data as well as the data as well as the methods or the functions. Here the functions are referred to in the name of methods in Java programming. So you are going to bind the data. Binding means collectively representing the data and the method into a single unit called as class. Now, what is the characteristics of a class? A class thus is a collection of objects of similar type. For example, I'll tell an example. You have a certain fruits in your table. Mango, apple, orange, and different kind of fruits in your table. If anyone come and ask you what is this, you will be just saying as fruits and not by saying that this is mango, this is apple, and this is grapes. You will not represent each one. What does that mean? You are having three data, that is apple, mango, and grapes. These are data for you. But you are groupingly, you are binding them together and you are saying this as a class. The class name here you have referred to as the fruits. Okay. Togetherly, you have referred the class name into a fruits. Clear? Now, similarly, these things are considered to be the data for my program. And I am going to create this into the class. Okay. Now, just a minute. And due to power issues, there was a delay, and now we can continue this. So here, how to write a class using Java template. So class, I'm going to create the name of the class as human, and always the class name should start with a capital letter in Java. And here I am going to create the variables, that is, this is the variable name and I am going to give the name. Okay, and variable name followed with variable data type followed by the variable name. Okay, and this is how you are going to give the methods. These are considered as the variables and these are considered as the methods. Methods are nothing but the functions. Okay, and see, this is called as your variable. Okay, these are called as the variables. Variables what you are going to declare. Okay, and here these are considered to be the method. Okay, this is the method, or you can say it as functions. Okay, these are called as methods or the functions. Now you have closed this classes. Okay, now this is how you will be creating a class. Class is nothing but binding up the data as well as the methods inside a single unit. That is, the human here is the single unit inside which you have two variables and two methods. Okay, now what is an object means? You are going to create an object for this class. Okay, you are going to create an object for this class. Okay, now for human, you will be creating an object variable. Using that object variable, you can access both the variable inside this class as well as the method inside this class. So there comes data abstraction. So what is this data abstraction? Abstraction refers to the act of representing essential features without including the background details or explanations. For example, here I have declared an abstract method. That is, I have declared a method, but I haven't said what this method is going to do. I have declared a function, but what this function is going to do, I have not said anything. This kind of representing functions are called as abstract. So, abstraction refers to the act of representing essential features without including the background details or explanations. Okay, now here, for example, we can take up a real time example, that is, you'll be having a class car. The car is made up of engine, gearbox, steering objects, etc. But you will not say individual components of a car, but collectively you will be saying it as a car. You will not say each and every component of car. My car contains engine, gearbox, steering object. You will not represent. You will say this is my car. That's all you will be representing. So that is how abstraction plays a role here means to build a car you need not know what are all the different components needed to build the car, but you want to know how they interface. That's all. That is, you need to know how to operate the car. That is enough. You need not know all the things of your car. So similarly, this comes under your data abstraction. That is, you can create your own methods, any number of methods you can create, and it is not necessary for you to think over what kind of work it is going to do. It is not necessary to know all these details. Okay, then here I have given you a difference between the object oriented programming and the procedural programming. The procedural programming, totally they have distinct functions or procedures, but in the object oriented programming everything is treated as object. And here in the case of procedural, the data placed in separate structures is manipulated by using these functions or procedures. And in the object oriented programming, every object consists of attributes and behaviors. So in the code maintenance, it is difficult in the case of procedural, but in the case of object-oriented code is easy to reuse. And you have no control over the data which is being accessed. Anyone can access the data what you have, but here you have good control over the data access. And in the case of testing and debugging, it is very difficult to debug where you have your error in the procedural, but it is easy to test and debug inside your thing. And it is not easy to partition the work in a project in the C programming or the procedural programming what you have. Everything has to be linked or else it will not get lined up. But here in this case, it is very easy to upgrade and the partition of the work, it can be done inside a project. Some of the object oriented programming, that is these are some of the characteristics of object oriented programming which is being listed over here. And here next one we need to see about the methods. Methods is nothing but a method is a group of instruction that is given a name, and it can be called up at any point in the program by quoting the name. That is, it is nothing but the functions. They are called as the functions, or it is also called in the name of procedures. Okay. Now, in a program or in a class, how you are going to create a functions. The syntax for creating a class is a class name followed by attributes, constructors and methods. Constructors we will be seeing in the next session. So you have a class, give a class name followed by attributes or variables, nothing but your data. And here this is the methods, nothing but your functions. And what is an instance? Instance is nothing but an object. That is, when you create a class with the data and functions, you need something over to help to access this data and functions. So how you can access this data and functions means with the help of objects you can access this. So how to create an objects means, that is, you have a class name which is defined over here, this class name. The same class name you can give and create a reference variable that gives you the thing. Okay, class name followed by reference variable. So this reference variable is equal to new constructor. The constructor we will be explaining it in the next class. Now how you are going to create a class, and certain thing we have been discussed, that is the um, uh, what we can say, it is the some of the core concepts of object oriented programming. That is, we have Java class hierarchy. Each and every class are being created with the help of class name. In Java, everything is being created with the help of classes. And the base class is the object. Object is the base class here, and in this base class